Hello again, welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf here with special guest Dave Frabotta, our editor of AgriBusiness Global. With a little bit of a global perspective, our team is, the rest of our team decided to leave me out of the car, drove off to the airport and headed to the Ag Retailers Association conference. So I get to hold down the fort while they're attending that, and I guess that's going very well. We had a roundtable, which I'm sure Eric will report on when he gets back. We also got word that our friend, who's one of our advisory council members, Dave Downey, longtime Purdue professor who does consulting on his own these days, but was named the Eberspacher Award winner through the association, which is kind of a legacy lifetime achievement award. So that was really exciting. Congratulations, Dave, from all of us here. You've been a good friend for a long time. You've done a lot for retail and a lot for Purdue University, a legacy that continues to grow and thrive. So congratulations to you, Dave. Very, very well deserved. Just a couple of things, a couple of news items. We just had Jackie Pucci, who's also working on AgriBusiness Global, did an interview with CEO Mike Stern, who's the CEO at Climate Corp, talking a little bit about Vital Fields acquisition in Europe. It's a compliance software application that they plan to bring to the U.S. So there's some interesting details on that. If you go to agribusinessglobal.com, you can find that particular interview there. Also talked a little bit about the need for retail and grower training, and expressed the desire to continue working with retailers and really be involved with the retail channel. So I think that's good news, that the recognition that the retailers are going to be really important, or continue to be important as technology adoption moves forward. So it's always good news to hear the acknowledgement of that important trusted advisor among suppliers. So Dave, I know you want to talk a little bit about crop planting intentions and globally and domestically, so I'll turn it over to you.
Sure, thanks, Paul. I thought it'd be a good time to look at what's being harvested in the southern hemisphere and how that might change the supply-demand equation, and perhaps some planting intentions going forward for U.S. growers and others in Europe and key producing places in Ukraine and Russia as well. So Brazil obviously pulling in a record harvest. Everyone's been talking about the soybean harvest that they have this year. It looks like the weather was cooperative. They're getting good yields, and it looks like if yields keep up the way they are, they're going to challenge the U.S. crop on soybeans. So that's a significant change, and they're looking at planting intentions for the next growing season. It looks like they're expecting another 1 million metric tons of soybeans on top of this year's harvest in Brazil. So those stable commodity prices have helped secure that market. And of course, strong demand from China is driving a lot of that production. So looking out at the futures, it still looks like soybean prices, despite those huge cropping years, are going to remain fairly consistent. That's good news for U.S. growers as well. It's looking at planting intentions for the U.S. next year. It looks like soybeans are going to be about static, perhaps about a 1% increase in area. As far as corn, Argentina is having just an overflow of production. They say that they have the world's demand kind of pent up in Argentina. And that's going to cause Brazil to ebb a little bit back on their corn production. U.S. growers have shown some frustration with corn prices, although they've been pretty stable, I think very predictable. I think U.S. corn will probably be relatively the same, maybe slightly down for next year, because there is so much supply in the marketplace globally.
Interesting. Well, it'll be interesting to see how the trade agreements play out this year. In terms of TPP, being essentially pushed aside, and NAFTA potentially being renegotiated. I know it's something that the grain commodity groups are talking a lot about, and we'll be watching with great interest.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about this a lot in columns and out in the industry. TPP was going to be something very interesting for the rules of origin for crop protection products that were originated either in China, in Vietnam, and other TPP sign-ons. So even if you weren't a TPP country, you could actually use a shipping loophole to change your rules of origin. It was going to affect formulated products more than technical grade. So there were some people just kind of monitoring how that was going to affect profits, how that might affect production origins, and perhaps a little bit on the logistics as well. So that is looking like it is not going to happen. So much ado about nothing on TPP at this point, as it looks like the president-elect Donald Trump is not going to entertain the expansion of those types of trade deals. It also puts NAFTA, as you mentioned, and CAFTA into question. No one expects those trade deals to disappear, but certainly some revisions could be on the table as the new administration takes office.
Man, more uncertainty, and it seems ag is always full of it, and full of it in terms of uncertainty, and certainly more to come. Well, that's it for this edition of Retail Week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.